Ladies and gentlemen, out there with the winner and still UFC welterweight champion Islam Makhachev. Islam, what did you expect coming into this fight, and was there anything that was surprising to you?
Ian is a great fighter, good man, and I just respect him. He gave me a hard time, but I still prove every fight. Thank you very much.
You certainly are. You certainly did prove. But was this, you believe, the most difficult fight in your career?
Oh, let's see. Maybe in Australia and elsewhere, it's also very hard.
Now, there was moments in the fight where you got him to the ground and you were able to secure him. Were you surprised he was able to defend the submission attempts?
Yeah, he improved a lot. He working with one of the best fighter coaches, him and Maya. That's why I say he improved very also.
Do you feel a difference in fighting at welterweight? I know you feel better physically, but do you feel a difference in your ability to control guys and submit guys?
Yeah, I feel that the guys have more power, very hard to submit them, but still, my game is working. I take down all my opponents, give them hard time for them. And thank you for all people who come support me. Thank you so much.
It's fine. Just boring fuck, dude. He landed a head kick in round 2, and other than that, he did nothing! For 20 minutes! He did fucking nothing! That's the truth! Zero! He caught him with a head kick in round 2, and other than that, he did fucking nothing! The whole fight!
They come back with the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, Islam Makhachev, who makes history. 17 wins in a row for Islam Makhachev. He retains his welterweight title. As GC just said, if you were watching the post show, and a tremendous job, the watch party, tremendous job by both GC and Rick. A, for the watch party, but B, for like actually doing it in those outfits for the entire time. I mean, the dedication to the bit. Primo, fifth fighter to defend a title in 2 different weight classes. Perhaps most importantly, in my opinion, 17th win in a row, breaking Anderson Silva's record, which was 16 wins in a row. He did not break any title defense records or anything like that. Dana White was kind of confused about those records throughout the week. But interestingly enough, same building that Anderson Silva beat Forrest Griffin way back when, UFC 101. Now that was just a 205-pound fight, but it was one of his greatest performances ever. Same building, same city, of course. Here's Islam Makhachev against Ian Machado Garry in a fight that I think a lot of people were dismissive of Ian Machado Garry's chances in the fight. And it was looking very early on like it was going to be another Islam Makhachev masterclass, certainly after the first 2 rounds. But a funny thing happened in the 3rd and 4th. Machado Garry got his confidence, figured out how to stand and trade with him, was defending takedowns. Islam was pretty much at about 50% throughout, and even when he did take him down, wasn't inflicting much damage. 4th round, going to be very interesting to see how that would score. Now, ultimately, 2 judges gave it 49-46, 1 48-47. I suspect those judges who gave it 49-46 for Ian had that 4th round for Islam.
I felt like tonight was set up for the upset. I felt like the upset could happen tonight with so much on the line, all the records that Islam has, and he's going to break Anderson Silva's record. There's weight classes for a reason. Ian Garry is a big, rangy, strong guy who has great takedown defense. I mean, if you look at his takedown defense tonight against Islam, it was impressive. I felt like, I think that Ian is a talented guy. If he had even an ounce of killer instinct in that 5th round, You know, he had been beating him to the body. Islam's whole, I think, right side was beat up. His face was beat up. You don't come out and hug and shake hands in the fight. That shit drives me fucking crazy when there's so much at stake. And there's also a lot of mental gamesmanship, whatever you want to call it in this game. You come out in that 5th round with a flying knee or something crazy and you try to finish the fight. I think that this is one of those fights that Ian will go back and watch and say, fuck, wish I could do that over again. And, you know, if he came out and tried to destroy and win that last round, you know, with everything that he had, I think it's a totally different fight. And then he gives Islam that explosive, you know, he exploded up and got his back, and once he took his back and put the hooks in, that was a wrap. He's gonna ride that out till the round ends.
But Ian's doing a good job of keeping him close. And then separate head kick, Islam Makhachev! Oh my goodness! And Ian's still wobbly. He dropped him with a head kick. Right hand Islam. Ian looks to get underneath and grapple. Big time judo throw from Islam. And he's sitting in side control, looking to isolate a wrist. Holy cow. Dropped him with the head kick off the break. And now Ian is in a bad spot. He's flat on his back, middle of the octagon. And we know Islam can get to mounted crucifix from here. There's about 1 minute and 50 seconds left. That was a huge moment, and it was just on the toes, and it wobbled Ian.
I also think it's very, very important to give Islam Makhachev his flowers. As I indicated, he breaks Anderson Silva's win streak. Dude, getting 17 consecutive fucking wins in the UFC is so mind-bogglingly difficult. And to do that in 2 weight classes through title defenses is just one of the most remarkable things you'll ever see. You can make an argument that this is the best title defense of a champ up a weight class in UFC history. I mean, there's other ones who have done it, but it's not nearly the
Россия, доказали, что мы номер 1 в мире. Все рекорды мы побьем.
Conor McGregor was very confident that Ian Garry would cause a major upset, pointing to his size and reach. He even gave Ian a path to a potential high kick finish.
Let's go, Garry. You know it. He has the tools. He's been doing great work in SBG. He's put in some solid rounds. I've been hearing about the rounds and seeing the rounds and what way the structure was. He's long. He's definitely going to stay safe. He's definitely going to be in there. He's definitely going to be in there all the way. Makhachev has pockets where there's a lot of stalling. He still has things to prove in that welterweight division. He does look like he's at the ground up into it a bit more. It's a cracking contest. Of course I'm going with Ian Garry. And I really believe he can do it. For sure he can do it. How do I see it? Right high kick across the crown of the head. And a victory for the Irish Brazilian. Let's go, Ian. Rooting for you, bro.
Joe Rogan focused on what happened whenever Garry found his rhythm. His quick movement and accurate punching gave him the technical tools to create dangerous moments against Makhachev.
Ian can move. He's fast as he's super accurate. And the way he throws his strikes is like real clean. Yeah. No fat in his move. Yeah. Everything's like like he doesn't
very responsible.
Yeah, he's not like a physically overpowering guy. It's technique. His technique is sharp.
Yeah. Did you see his interaction that time with Khamzat?
Yeah.
But keeping that distance was always going to be the difficult part. Michael Bisping explained why Islam's wrestling completely changed the fight, particularly through pressure, control, and submission threats.
When you look at Islam Makhachev and the way that he ragdolls everyone, when he gets a hold of them, and more importantly, when he gets them up against the fence. Sometimes when he shoots out in the open, you can stuff those takedowns like Dustin Poirier did. But when he gets you up against the fence, wrestling on the fence is a very, very different thing. And if he does that, it's going to be curtains for Ian Garry, because when he gets them down and he gets on top, the top control is on a different level. We have seen Ian Garry struggle at times. Yes, he wasn't submitted by Shavkat Rakhmonov that had finished everyone else and beaten everyone else, by the way, and finished them along the way. But Islam Makhachev is a different kettle of fish altogether. The ground and pound is really strong and nasty. The submission threat obviously is very, very high level, but the control that he has, if he gets Ian Garry down, he's going to struggle to get back to his feet.
Bisping also credited Garry for staying true to his style despite the criticism surrounding him, but still, he was confident that Islam will create a submission opportunity over 5 rounds.
Is my prediction for this fight. Fair play to Ian Garry, right, for being in this position, because he's played a kind of a strange role along the way. He's been kind of like an anti-hero, whereas he goes out to press conferences and everybody boos him, and he doesn't give a shit. And to be honest, he shouldn't give a shit. We all want to be liked, but you can't please everybody. What he's doing is pleasing himself, he's pleasing his wife, and he's taking care of his family. And that in life is all we have to worry about. If we do that, that's our main priority is taken care of, right? Who gives a shit about everyone else? But can he beat Islam Makhachev? Yes, he's got a style maybe to where he has a good chance, but I think over 5 rounds, Islam Makhachev will find him, will take him down.
Chael Sonnen shifted attention to the distance battle, arguing that Islam's biggest challenge was getting through Garry's movement, height, and reach to secure his takedowns.
The most helpful thing, they'll talk about reach, or height. There are certain guys, can they go this weight class? How tall is he? Is he tall enough for the weight class? It was the problem that Johnny Hendricks had. Just to give you an example, it was the problem that Johnny Hendricks had at 185 pounds. Johnny had everything. He checks every box. He was not tall enough for that weight. I do wonder with that on Islam. Now, you've got to find somebody that can exploit it. I do think Islam's big enough for a 70-pounder. I will just share for you that height is a real thing, and Ian Garry's got it. And there's something that Islam has seen, I believe, that concerns him about the takedown. There's something within Ian Garry that concerns Islam, period. I have to then guess what it is. I don't think it's on the ground. I don't think it's a submission threat. I don't think it's a conditioning issue. I think it's simply, how do I get to a guy that's this long and moves this much? And there are some guys that have a massive problem.
On the feet, Teddy Atlas gave Garry plenty to work with, highlighting his long legs, jab, straight right, and kicking game.
And his kicks, those long legs. And that gives him a chance to catch Makhachev while standing and striking before Makhachev can get in range to catch him. Gives him a chance with the jab, gives him a chance with the straight right hand, set the table with the jab, eat with the right hand, gives him a chance again with the kicks, gives him a chance to control the outside. Gives him a chance to maybe walk Makhachev through a bad neighborhood and try to mug him. Makhachev don't get mugged, but a chance. That's all I'm looking for.
Max Holloway also recognized those advantages, pointing to Garry's reach and intelligent approach while explaining how dangerous Islam became once he managed to get inside.
Like I said, guys, do not be surprised of Ian in the first 2 rounds, bro. Ian is going to use his reach. He's going to be smart. Islam is going to be super smart back, just trying to figure it out, try to wear him down, trying to close that distance. But once he closes that distance, it's going to be, I believe, and I feel like he's just going to be smothering him for the rest of the fight. So I think Islam Makhachev, I think it's a submission or just get his hand raised, period. But if it is a finish, I think it's a submission. So, but Islam can knock out too, so never know, bro. But I think he get his hands raised. I think right now he's just on his stuff and he's looking great, and I'm excited for this one.
And it wasn't only Garry's technique that stood out. Kamaru Usman emphasized the physical differences, particularly Ian's height, reach, and leg length at welterweight.
Because as a fighter, to be an elite fighter, you have to be able to have the vision of the fight, the vision of how the fight's taking place, how the fight's playing out, and the wherewithal to be able to see the shot before you land the shot. See the setup before you land it. And Ian, I have to be honest, Ian does have good vision of a fight. He can see, there's that highlight of the only, I think, couple of knockouts that he has in the UFC, right now is him sliding back, seeing the shot, and landing the right hand, I believe. So he does have that vision, and if he is able to stay composed and not be put on his butt, put on his back, and not just be controlled, Ian does have vision. He can find it. So that's the shot that I give him. Besides that, I just being on your feet alone, I don't think gives him the edge.
Even those favoring Islam acknowledged Garry's strengths. Paddy Pimblett was also backing Makhachev, but he recognized that Garry's awkward style, length, and outside striking made things difficult.
I just don't think you can pick against Islam. You know, he's on like a 15-fight win streak or something mad like that. He looked amazing in his welterweight debut. For me, he's pound for pound best in the world. I see Ian Garry giving him problems. My coach has said for years he sees Ian Garry being a future UFC world champion. He's got a proper awkward style. He could end up winning this fight by decision by just staying long and rangy, kicking, punching on the outside and just point scoring. In his younger career, Garry used to get loads of TKOs, finish people, where now he's become more of a point fighter. And Islam's a completely different wrestler to Bilal. He's a lot better. I'm going to have to pick Islam by decision.
For Demetrius Johnson, patience was another key ingredient. He examined how Garry could use his jab and careful positioning to dictate when exchanges happened, rather than rushing into danger.
Islam Makhachev is going into his own era with the other athletes who've been able to win it and defend it. So be patient, enjoy the fight, watch for the technique, understand the gamemanship that's going on in this fight. It won't be a rock'em sock'em. It's not going to be Roy McDonald versus Robbie Lawler. It's not going to be that fight. It's going to be a very, very high technical fight.
Johnson also discussed Garry's shot selection and patience while describing Makhachev as a complete fighter.
Who do I have winning against Ian Garry versus Islam Makhachev? I'm going to go with Islam Makhachev. I think Islam Makhachev can win the fight anywhere. Now, do we think Islam Makhachev is going to win by decision or a finish? Islam said he's going to get it done. Islam said he's going to get it done within 3 rounds. And, you know, it just all depends how Islam approaches the fight and how Ian Garry approaches the fight. If Ian Garry is running a lot and Islam's having a hard time catching him, it's probably going to go to a decision. But if Islam Makhachev is able to get his hands on Ian Garry, get him to the ground, and start to pass his guard, then he'll finish him. It all depends how the reaction is going to be when the two clash. And that's will dictate if it's going to be a finish or a decision.
Michael Venom Page approached this matchup as a clash of 2 different strengths. Islam had the grappling advantage, while Garry possessed the more natural tools for controlling the fight at striking range.
Ian Garry, I think the obvious is Islam Makhachev, if he grabs you, it'll feel like the eclipse that we just had, because it'll get dark very, very quick. And that's usually because people are falling asleep, because if he grabs your neck, your head, throat, your arm, your leg, it's going to be a problem. His grappling and wrestling style is exceptional, you know, because it's so effective. Whereas on the other side, Ian Garry, less about the grappling, more about the striking. This is what we've all come to love about mixed martial arts, about the UFC specifically, is style versus style. Ian Garry's striking is very, very good. Not that good, but very, very good. And the reason I feel like I've got good insight that is because I've gone the distance with Ian Garry and felt his pros, his cons. Again, my style is very, very different. I do believe he will have the striking advantage, although Islam's striking very, very on point. But I have to say, Ian Garry is just a very smart fighter.
Beyond that, Page highlighted Garry's resilience, pointing to his ability to make adjustments when the action became difficult.
Ian Garry is somebody that if it's starting to go wrong, he can make those adjustments and then, you know, find a way. I think he's a bit of a cockroach, man. And I mean it with respect. He just seems to be able to, you just can't kill him. You just find a way. He will find a way to getting that victory.
And with UFC 330 now behind them, the questions surrounding Islam Makhachev and Ian Garry have finally been answered inside the octagon. The next chapter for both fighters is now the one to watch. Subscribe for more UFC post-fight reactions, breakdowns, and fight news.